Hey folks, Fernando doing another video for the Modern Survivalist, and yes, I know this is a topic that a lot of you folks find boring already and we are tired of talking about coronavirus, but we have to do this again because the World Health Organization just came out admitting what many of us knew all along, which is that coronavirus is an airborne disease. It's a big difference. It's okay that they finally bothered to admit it, but it's been around for quite some time. And in my case, since January, I've been telling you this. Why have I been telling you this? Well, because I had talked with David Jones, good guy that's expert on nuclear, biological, and chemical warfare protection for the U.S. military, and this is things that we've discussed back in January when this was not even around the corner for a lot of you folks. We also knew that it was spreading at a much faster pace than the official story from the World Health Organization would have let us believe. This idea that just washing your hands and a little bit of social distancing was enough. No. If that had been enough, it wouldn't have spread all over the world like it did. So, getting to the point, what's the big difference? What is it that you should know so as to protect yourself? Be careful, guys. This is not the end of the world. This is a serious pandemic. You have to take certain steps if you want to be prepared for this. If you just want to go about your life, not worry about anything, you're free to do so. If you are watching this channel, you are somewhat of a prepper, somewhat of a survivalist, and this is the kind of thing you should have prepared all along. Have a lot of the gear we talk about, but also make wise decisions for yourself. Not because the government is telling you to wear this, which we're going to be going into a second how effective this is for the kind of situation we have right now, but because you know what's best for you and your family. So all along, we've been told that coronavirus was, well, we've been told lots of things, right? We've been told it's just a flu, bro. The World Health Organization was telling us at a time that it's just a flu, bro. Basically, no big deal. Then they changed the story. But one of the things we've been told was that we have our guy and that just social distancing about 6 feet, right? 6 feet was enough because you were trying to avoid some of the bigger droplets of saliva from someone that is infected. So we have our guy here infected with coronavirus. He's coughing, he's sneezing, and large droplets of saliva, mucus just come out of his mouth and carry the disease. And if you touch this, if this gets into your lungs or whatever, your face, you have a chance of getting infected. So we've been told that as long as you keep 6 feet away from this person, you're just okay, you're just fine. If this had been the case and just washing your hands, anything that was spit, touched by someone infected, that would have been enough. If this had been true, then it wouldn't have spread nearly as fast as it's been spreading for months now. It's quite interesting and it's very complex. The reality is that when we talk, even when we just breathe, there are small particles, droplets of saliva that are going into the atmosphere, the room where you are, the surroundings. So every time you talk, every time you breathe in and out, small little particles of saliva float around and they stay there. These are a little bit different from some of the larger ones when you sneeze, cough, or even when you pronounce certain words, spitting as you talk. You know, the kind of thing you probably have even seen. It's physical, a droplet. These are the ones that supposedly fall within those 6 feet. Right? Now, these other ones that we were told were not carrying the disease just didn't make a whole lot of sense, but that was the official World Health Organization stance for quite some time. These were not big deal. Well, turns out that they're saying that yes, it is a big deal. Yes, these tiny, smaller ones also carry the virus and you can get infected with those as well. So what ends up happening is that on one hand, you have the larger drops that fall pretty fast, and as long as you have that social distancing, you're supposedly fine. And social distancing does work at a certain extent. It's not complete bullshit. Sure, being 6 feet away from someone that's infected will give you a margin of safety to some degree. Now, this is important as well, because this is how it's been spreading all along, and why it's so easily spreading for people in buses, in planes, in conference rooms, in classrooms. Why was it? Well, because of this, because of what only now the World Health Organization is admitting to. If this person infected with coronavirus is talking, breathing in and out, and he's in a closed environment, all these smaller droplets that are suspended in the air, they last for hours suspended like that in the air. It's going to be depending on a few variables, especially how humidity will make this last quite a bit longer. Ventilation, if you're indoors and you open windows so as to have cross ventilation, this helps quite a bit so as to clear the air. Ideally, you wouldn't be indoors. The best thing you can do, the safest thing to do, besides keeping away of course from people that are infected, is being outdoors. Outdoors means you have constant resupply, refreshing of air around you, and you're pretty much very safe in terms of not catching the virus. So being outdoors is best. You want to avoid being indoors with people that may be infected. But what you have to understand about this is, if our coronavirus infected guy, he's working here in the office doing his thing, he doesn't even know he's sick, he just leaves that place, and an hour later you drop by to do whatever, or this is a store, a shop, an office, a classroom, a group of people or someone infected was there, he leaves these droplets hanging in the air, you go in without even noticing, this place is completely empty, you may get infected as well. You may breathe in these small particles with coronavirus as well. Now, some of the myths, some of the bullshit, before we get into this, what I was talking about being outdoors, right? Being outside, trees, sunshine, sun is very important, just as much as wind. Wind is going to be refreshing the air around you. The sunlight is going to be providing UV rays, which recent studies are saying that it kills coronavirus in a matter of minutes. So you want to be outdoors, and you want to be outdoors during the day. During the night, coronavirus spreads faster because it's not being killed by UV light. UV light kills it very quickly. So that's also important. That's also something you want to keep in mind. So what is it that you do if you cannot avoid going to a place where people may have been there, or you're going to a grocery store, office, class, whatever it is? You're gonna be indoors in a place where someone may be right there infected along with you, or people infected may have been there and left the virus hanging in that air. Well, you want to take precautions, and that is gonna be having a mask, face mask. What is it that works? Well, you've been told that you have to wear this surgical mask, or some of these cloth improvised, stuff like this, a shemag or cotton covering your face. How well does that work? How much sense does it make? Well, not a whole lot, to be completely honest. Now, unfortunately, lots of these things have become quite politicized, and that's really not good, because it just creates more confusion. What's the truth? What actually works? Well, this sort of stuff, there's a recent study I just read it in Fox News, a recent study that seems quite serious and pretty well done. It says that 65% chance of avoiding getting a disease if you're wearing this. Now, you may be thinking, well, 65% is really not all that great. It's really not all that awesome. And that's true, because this has practically no seal around your face, your nose, your mouth. So one of the lies, and this has a very strong political content as well, is you wear this so as to protect other people, not you, because you don't matter, because your rights don't mean anything to us. It's about you being nice and kind and protecting everyone else around you by wearing this. That is complete and absolute bullshit. You're not protecting anyone by using this, at least not to any serious extent. The reality is that this 65% is very accurate, and it goes along nicely with lots of other studies I've read, which say that, yeah, this is going to be providing 60%, 65%, Cotton ones are even worse. In different studies, cotton masks like this material is going to be filtering like 50% of the particles in the air. It's really not all that reassuring. Now what happens is, besides not being all that great filtering material, you have no seal around here whatsoever. So when you're wearing this and you're thinking that you're protecting everyone around you by wearing this, that is not true. Easily 55-40% of the air, every time you breathe out, it's going to be slipping and finding its way through the path of least resistance, which is all these gaps around the mask that you're wearing. Some of it will be filtered going out through here. To some extent, you're going to be catching all that mucus, all that saliva, all those droplets, some of those, but not nearly as much as to make a terrible difference in terms of numbers of people infected and wearing these. The air is still going to be saturated with your with the air that was in your lungs with that virus, and we're going back to this case. Every time you exhale, easily half of the air is going to be sipping through these gaps and it's going to be ending up in the atmosphere. And if someone is not wearing proper equipment, he may get infected as well. And besides this, when you breathe in yourself, yeah, about half of the air, give or take, is going to be going through the filtering material, which is not all that great to begin with. But a lot of it, nearly half as much, is going to be sipping through those little gaps that you have all over the place, because this is really not sealing as well as an actual mask would seal. So in terms of what actually protects you, real protection will be an actual real mask. This seals 100% when worn properly, when following the right protocol. This seals completely around your nose and mouth, and using the proper filters, P3 filters like these, or N99, N100, P100, the different denominations. But basically you want a particle filter from 3M. This is a good mask for the price. This is really going to be filtering each time you breathe in. Each time you exhale, it's pretty much the same thing. The exhaled air is going to be going through a valve, and that's not going to be filtering, but this is not going to be filtering either. It's a fantasy, it's a lie, it's not real that this is filtering every particle that you're exhaling into. No, it just doesn't work that way, and this percentage says the truth. A lot of those are going to be, and more than enough, we're talking about hundreds if not thousands of particles each time you exhale, floating in the atmosphere, in the air with the virus. All right, so the mask, it's intended to protect the person that is wearing it. This is also about freedom. If you don't want to wear a mask, don't wear a mask. If you don't want to wear a real mask, don't wear one. People like myself, I decide that in certain cases, like when I have to be indoors, a public place especially, I'm going to be taking precautions, wearing this, or actually wearing something like this, which is even better. And for everyone asking, this is a GSR General Service Respirator by Scott. The only place I know it's being sold is ebay.uk. That's the only place you can buy it. No, I don't advise this because it's too expensive and you probably don't need something like this. If you want to get it, by all means, more power to you. If not, get a 3M with some of these filters. These are more than adequate. I leave the link below, as I always do, for whatever is that's available in Amazon at the time, which is not often all that much. So this is how you actually protect yourself. This socializing, saving others by wearing something that's ineffective, this is a surgical mask. It's intended for a surgeon to cover his mouth while he's operating on someone and not directly spit into an open wound. That was really the idea for these. Maybe a patient that is infected and coughing like a madman, this is going to be stopping some of that spit, but it's not protecting people nearly as much as you would think, because a lot of that air will still, each time you cough, this mask, and again, air finds a path of least resistance all around this mask. It's really not all that wonderful. Is it better than nothing? Yeah, I'll give you that much. Better than nothing for sure. But to do things right, use a proper mask. This is going to be providing over 99% of protection, and it's going to be filtering by the particle filters. Another common misconception is that masks don't work because the virus is just too tiny. The virus is like, say, microns big, and the filtering capacity of the mask and the filtering material, even the best HEPA filter, is way too large, and the virus is tiny enough to go through your filter. No, it just doesn't work that way, because the virus is not traveling on its own. The virus is traveling on a very tiny little droplet of saliva, but as tiny as that droplet is, it's actually quite large. And that droplet, as it gets into the filter, is going to be getting stuck in all of this material along with a tiny little virus. So if this is the filtering material that we have, and here's the droplet approaching, just boom, gets stuck in there with the virus, and as this dehydrates and it dries up, the virus dies. It's really not all that resistance when it loses all its humidity, and if you let these filters rest from one day to the next, anything in there, it's going to be dying. These filters are quite nice because they're easier to keep clean, which is a big advantage. These are made in Canada. They're not cheap, but they're somewhat of the best, and it's a lot more economical. These are disposable. You have to throw these away every single day you wear them. But I go back to having an actual seal. This is crucial for the efficiency of anything you're wearing. These are a lot cheaper than wearing some of that, which is a lot worse, and this is going to be lasting you the entire pandemic. These filters last for a very, very long time. With these two, you'll be fine for the entire pandemic, and you have something that works, and it's easy to keep clean as well. So guys, that's basically it in terms of latest updates and what's going on with coronavirus. I hope this helped. Keep in mind, Street Survival Skills, my book available in Amazon. It's going to be quite helpful for any kind of civil unrest situation like the stuff you're seeing right now. Folks, see you on the next video. Remember, tomorrow, 3 p.m. Eastern Time, I'm going to be talking again with Matt Bracken. You do not want to miss that, because it's going to be quite interesting, talking about roadblocks, how you take care of yourself on the street when in a vehicle, and a lot more stuff as well. See you tomorrow. Have an awesome day.